Good evening, I'm Anna Azalian. Thanks for joining us. The Ohio University Police Department has released a report of a rape that occurred last weekend. The assault reportedly happened in the early hours Sunday morning. The report says a female victim was at a house party before feeling dizzy and waking up at an unknown location. A hospital visit indicated that the victim was sexually assaulted. Ohioans will gain an extra hour of sleep this weekend. November 3rd marks the end of daylight savings time. The time change means that it will get darker earlier, reducing visibility. The Ohio Department of Transportation reminds people to drive slow and pay extra attention for people walking and biking. For more safety tips, visit woumove.ohio.gov. And elections are coming up on Tuesday, and here in Athens, there are two candidates on the ballot for mayor. An independent Democratic Socialist, Damon Crane, is challenging the incumbent Democrat Steve Patterson. While they're running for the same office, each candidate has a different reason for running.
4 years under my belt now, or almost 4 years under my belt. Still a lot more things that I think we need to accomplish in terms of making ourselves a place that is not only a good quality of life environment in which we who live here experience, but also, you need to make yourself in a city that is memorable for those who come to visit.
I was away from Athens for 7 years, moved back in 2016, and upon moving back, having to deal with the same rental housing problems again, getting involved in city politics around mobile vending issues, being frustrated with some of the ways that city council works and doesn't work. Those things all really inspired me to run for mayor.
We'll have more about both of these candidates as well as the other candidates and issues on the ballot during our Newswatch election special on Monday. And in Cincinnati, police are investigating after some trick-or-treaters found something sharp mixed in with their Halloween candy. Authorities say two parents were inspecting their child's Halloween candy when they found razor blades pressed into chocolate. The parents turned the candy over to police, who say the two parents know each other and went trick-or-treating with their children in the same neighborhood. Police in the area are now asking all parents to check their children's Halloween candy and set aside anything unusual. And in Cleveland, a 17-year-old boy is in the hospital and two other males are dead after a shooting last night in an abandoned home. Police arrived at the home to find three males with multiple gunshot wounds. A 16-year-old boy was taken to the hospital where he died. The other male was pronounced dead on the scene. Police are still searching for two unknown suspects. And a home in Dayton owned by a man who killed two 17-year-old boys inside his garage was destroyed yesterday in a suspected arson fire. The man moved out shortly after the killings. A 911 caller reported hearing an explosion and then watching a car drive off. The Dayton Daily News reported the word murderer was spray painted on the house. The homeowner has not been charged for the deaths. And a joint task force in Ohio has seized an amount of fentanyl large enough to kill the state's population, quote, many times over. According to a Montgomery County Sheriff's Office news release, authorities recently confiscated over 40 pounds of suspected fentanyl. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost says that much fentanyl amounts to, quote, chemical warfare and a weapon of mass destruction.
19 degrees, that is the temperature difference from the high today, from the high yesterday. It is very chilly out there right now, and it's 45 degrees in Athens, mainly clear skies due to a high pressure moving into the area. Humidity is at 46%, and the barometric pressure is 30.30 inches and rising as that high pressure builds. Across the area, temperatures are generally in the middle and upper 40s, 43 in Newark, 43 in Cambridge, 43 in New Martinsville, again, all under mainly clear skies. And that's going to remain the story over the next couple of days, Anna, as a high pressure continues to just move on into the area, and it will be quite beautiful going through tomorrow. Slight chance of rain, and it will cool down later on next week, though.
Thanks, Nicholas. And authorities in Kentucky say the pilot of a small plane has died in a crash not far from a regional airport. Airport Authority Board Chair George Bray confirmed a plane downed near the Barkley Regional Airport in Paducah last night. McCracken County Sheriff Matt Carter says the plane crashed into a wooded area. The pilot who died, 49-year-old Clint Hill, was the only person on board. The incident is still under investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board and the Federal Aviation Administration. And a Kentucky woman is being sentenced to 5 years in prison in connection with the death of her infant son. The Kentucky New Era reports Judge John Atkins gave the sentence Wednesday to Desiree Catlett, whose 9-month-old son Genoa was found underwater in a bathtub in 2016. Catlett's attorney asked the court to grant his client probation, but Atkins said doing so would depreciate the seriousness of the case. And a judge is sending a Kentucky man accused of killing 2 people at a grocery store back to a state mental health facility. WDRB-TV reports that a judge decided yesterday to return Gregory Bush to the Kentucky Correctional Psychiatric Center for treatment. In July, Bush was deemed mentally competent to stand trial, but after yesterday's hearing, prosecutors and defense attorneys said they have more concerns about his mental health. Bush has pled not guilty in the case, including murder and hate crime charges. And in West Virginia, a former horse racing commissioner says photos posted online of a euthanized racing horse surrounded by trash in a landfill should be a wake-up call for state leaders. A sheriff's investigation ruled out animal cruelty in the incident. The Horse Racing Commission's executive director, Joe Moore, says there aren't state rules regarding the disposal of horse remains, but Mountaineer Park Racetrack, where the horse was euthanized, has procedures which were not followed. And coming up, another Democratic candidate drops out of the 2020 race. Plus, House Democrats work to release elements of the impeachment inquiry against President Trump. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
The treasured Dead Sea Scrolls are under threat from the ravages of time and convincing forgeries.
These things passed carbon-14 dating.
Can new technology save the scrolls?
All of the writing comes back to life.
It may be too late.
But there's always hope.
I said, you won't believe what you found.
We were walking on air.
Dead Sea Scroll Detectives on Nova.
On Light from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the extraordinary patterns of our planet, revealing a vast array of shapes, carved into the Earth by powerful natural forces, transformed by remarkable animals, and even patterns created by humans. Discover the incredible tapestry of our planet as you've never seen it before.
The more data, the better the AI works. In the age of AI, where data is the new oil, China is the new Saudi Arabia.
There will be a Chinese tech sector, and there will be an American tech sector.
Machines are automating some of our skills.
When I increase productivity through automation, jobs go away.
It has pervaded so many elements of everyday life. How do we make it transparent and accountable?
Nature's journey into the Okavango concludes. The river has run its course, and everyone is on the move. From hardy survivors to exiled hunters, experience one of the last places on Earth where giants can roam.
Democratic presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke is no longer in the race for president. In a statement on Twitter posted earlier today, O'Rourke said, quote, "I am announcing that my service to the country will not be as a candidate or as the nominee." He went on to say he will work to help the Democratic nominee to defeat President Trump in 2020. The U.S. House could begin to release transcripts from an impeachment inquiry into President Trump. The move comes after lawmakers passed a resolution to move the investigation forward. Suzanne Malveaux reports.
The yeas are 232. The nays are 196.
With the strike of her gavel, Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats' impeachment inquiry moving into its next phase.
What are we fighting for? Defending our democracy for the people.
Moving the impeachment investigation to public hearings for the American people to see. Democrats expressing concerns as they move forward.
We take no joy in having to move down this road and proceed with the impeachment inquiry, but neither do we shrink from it.
He's not worth impeaching because it's even going to divide the country further than he has already divided it. But this was something that you could not ignore.
A defiant President Trump signaling he will not cooperate with the inquiry, telling the Washington Examiner he wants to do a fireside chat on live television where he will read the transcript of the call, adding, "Everybody knows I did nothing wrong."
I think this is just more, stunt and showmanship from the president at a time that I think he and my Republican colleagues in Congress need to get serious about what's at stake.
The vote happening at the same time investigators were questioning Tim Morrison for more than 8 hours behind closed doors, President Trump's former top advisor on Russia, telling lawmakers he was told Trump wanted a top Ukrainian official to publicly announce investigations that would stand to benefit the president politically before he would unfreeze nearly $400 million in military aid. Morrison corroborating key elements of Ambassador Bill Taylor's testimony. Morrison, who listened in on Trump's July 25th phone call, said, "I want to be clear. I was not concerned that anything illegal was discussed." Still, he did have concerns, such as a potential leak and how it would play out in Washington's polarized environment. The White House claiming Morrison's testimony as a victory for President Trump, according to a senior official. House Republicans echoing that statement.
Mr. Morrison's testimony is very damaging to the Democrat narrative.
Tim Morrison absolutely did not say that there was quid pro quo.
But House Democrats seeing Morrison's deposition differently.
It's hard to see how they interpret it that way. He really confirmed the facts of what has been testified to by people like Ambassador Taylor.
The impeachment inquiry will continue next week with House Democrats hoping John Bolton can testify on Thursday. But his appearance could be held up if a federal court upholds the Trump administration's claim that it can stop former White House officials from testifying. And President Trump is saying he might read the transcript of his call with the Ukrainian president on live TV. Trump says his phone call with the Ukrainian president was a, quote, good call, and he did nothing wrong. A whistleblower raised concerns about this same call, alleging Trump asked the Ukrainian president to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden and his son. Trump denies these claims. And on Monday, President Trump will host the World Series champions, the Washington Nationals, at the White House. White House Deputy Secretary Judd Deere announced the visit today in a tweet with the hashtag "Stay in the Fight," the team's motto. They returned to D.C. last night after beating the Houston Astros Wednesday to close off a dramatic 7-day series. This weekend, D.C. is hosting a parade in honor of the Nationals. And coming up, more than a dozen wildfires are still raging through California. That story's still ahead.
And another weather news for southeastern Ohio. More cool weather is expected for next week. I'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast, but first a look at stocks of local interest.
The treasured Dead Sea Scrolls are under threat from the ravages of time and convincing forgeries.
These things passed carbon-14 dating.
Can new technology save the scrolls?
All of the writing comes back to life.
It may be too late.
But there's always hope.
I said, you won't believe what you found.
We were walking on air.
Dead Sea Scroll Detectives on Nova.
The more data, the better the AI works. In the age of AI, where data is the new oil, China is the new Saudi Arabia.
There will be a Chinese tech sector, and there will be an American tech sector.
Machines are automating some of our skills.
When I increase productivity through automation, jobs go away.
It has pervaded so many elements of everyday life. How do we make it transparent and accountable?
I grew up in the South Bronx in the 1970s, during the time of the fires.
Landlords were burning our buildings for profit, and they didn't have to rebuild our homes. 250,000 people displaced, residents and grassroots organizations had no other choice but to fight back. These were our homes. This was our neighborhood. We weren't gonna take it lying down.
Decade of Fire.
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the extraordinary patterns of our planet, revealing a vast array of shapes, carved into the earth by powerful natural forces, transformed by remarkable animals, and even patterns created by humans. Discover the incredible tapestry of our planet as you've never seen it before.
Hi everybody, I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. My apology, we do not have any graphics. There were some technical difficulties, so I will try to do my best here. We have a strong trough in the upper level jet stream. That's what kept us cool today, and that's what's going to keep us cool over the next couple of days. We have a slight warm front overhead off to our west, attached to a slight cold front. That's going to bring some slight chances of rain for tomorrow. More on that in a second, but first we'll get you through tonight. 31 degrees will be the low. Clear. It is winter coat season finally. Winds will be out of the south-southeast at 0 to 5 miles an hour. Across the area, temperatures will generally be in the lower and middle 30s with a 1 or 2 20s as you go out and about. There is a freeze warning in effect for portions of the viewing area. In Ohio, that includes Perry, Morgan, Athens, Vinton, Jackson, Gallia, Lawrence, Washington, and Morgan counties. That's in Ohio. Every single one of our West Virginia and Kentucky counties are under that freeze warning, so make sure you cover up any sensitive vegetation because it will be killed or damaged by the hard freeze coming in tonight. So over the past couple of days, we had a Halloween storm to remember. There was various types of weather all across pretty much the country, and there was snow in Chicago, and even here in our southern portions of the viewing area, some areas saw severe weather. There was a tornado watch yesterday for a couple of our southern counties in West Virginia, and there were a couple severe thunderstorm warnings yesterday as well. We have a picture from Joey Ripshow in Chicago who showed us all the snow they got. They got about 3 to 5 inches of snow yesterday over in Chicago, but the main effects we saw here were the strong wind gusts. Athens had a very powerful wind gusts last night at 41 miles an hour, Columbus 47, Newark 47, New Martinsville 40, Marietta 40, and Ironton 36. And again, those were the max wind gusts last night. And a couple areas saw snow, including Columbus and Newark last night. So it was quite a storm that came through yesterday. And that's going to really be the pattern over the next week or so. We're going to remain below average, especially tomorrow and into Sunday and later on next week, where more of you could see snow going in next week. And there's my graphics right there now. Again, there's our 7-day temperature averages. 17 degrees below average for Friday. And 10-day air masses, we remain cool right now. We warm you up just a bit on Monday. Thursday, we keep you warm before another, and this will be a major cool down coming in for Friday. Extended forecast, we warm you back up into the 50s for Monday. 20% chance of rain on Tuesday with a high of 55, 57 on Wednesday. Cloudy skies. Rain comes in for Thursday. This is our next system with a high of 46. And Friday, widespread snow showers are possible. Only a 20% chance, but still enough to keep an eye on for next week. Anna?
Thanks, Nicholas. And another major fire in Southern California is putting firefighters on their heels. This despite a break in weather conditions that could help those battling more than a dozen wildfires up and down the state. Karen Kafa has the latest.
Flames light up the darkness. A new wildfire erupted overnight in Southern California while firefighters hope for the best amid a challenging week.
We are in the middle of a big fight. We are about a week into this and the end is not yet in sight.
The Maria fire in Ventura County, just one of more than a dozen that have burned tens of thousands of acres up and down the state this week. Slightly improved conditions for firefighters were expected Friday. Wind speeds in Southern California, for example, forecasted far slower lower than the hurricane-force gusts earlier in the week. Still, red flag warnings are in effect. Conditions like wind, humidity, and temperature are ripe for fires, and millions are on alert.
Everybody here in California, they are on their toes for anything that can happen, any little spark.
In Riverside County, police said Friday the 46 fire east of Los Angeles was sparked by the damaged tires of a car involved in a police pursuit. And in the northern portion of the state's largest active fire, the Kincaid Fire, continues to burn parts of Sonoma County. CAL FIRE expressing optimism about the fight Friday.
Overall, the fire looks very, very good. I spoke with the air attack supervisor last night, and his comment was everything looks good on the perimeter.
That blaze has been going since last Wednesday. I'm Karen Kafa reporting.
And in Florida, a woman thought she was having serious back pain. Turns out she didn't know it, but she was pregnant and in labor. Vanessa Arisa has her story.
Losing weight very steadily, like from the beginning to August, I lost like 140 pounds.
For close to a decade, Daria Yakwak had lived with polycystic ovary syndrome. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services defines it as a hormonal imbalance that affects 1 in 10 women. For Daria, it meant weight gain and changes to what her future would look like. Last year, she made the decision to have a gastric sleeve procedure performed, a surgery that removed more than half of her stomach.
Like, you look so good, you lost so much weight. I'm like, I know, thank you.
But it was in August when her success turned into a scare.
And then I woke up with very bad back pain. I was crying and like screaming.
Did you think that you could be pregnant?
No, not at all at first.
Turns out she was pregnant. 35 weeks, in fact.
Then they came and did a 4th ultrasound, and they went up like in my rib cage, and they're like, oh, yeah, there's a baby in there. It's a big baby. You're gonna give birth.
Aura Lynn was born 9 hours after Daria woke up with that back pain. She was born 5 weeks early. No prenatals, no checkups, and perfectly healthy.
I'm so happy to be a mama. She's a great little baby girl.
With the baby comes the question, how did you not know you were pregnant?
All the other symptoms like heartburn and gas pain and bloat, they just attributed to my surgery because those are the symptoms. Yeah, sleepy little girl. It's nice to know that I can get pregnant again, but right now 1 is good enough.
Vanessa Ariza, ABC Action News.
And now I'm joined by our WOUB sports reporter, Ethan Sands. Ethan, some of our OU players are going to have to deal with this cold weather, right?
They're definitely going to have to deal with some of this cold weather. And the temperatures are starting to drop. We inch closer and closer to hooping season. It's basketball time. It's convo and it's basketball. But soccer and volleyball, well, they're still going. They're still grooving and moving. And that's next on News One.
Thank you, Ethan. But before we take a look at that, first, here are your stocks of local interest.
The treasured Dead Sea Scrolls are under threat from the ravages of time and convincing forgeries.
These things pass carbon-14 dating.
Can new technology save the scrolls?
All of the writing comes back to life.
It may be too late.
But there's always hope.
I said, you won't believe what you found.
We were walking on air.
Dead Sea Scroll Detectives on Nova.
The more data, the better the AI works. In the age of AI, where data is the new oil, China is the new Saudi Arabia.
There will be a Chinese tech sector, and there will be an American tech sector.
Machines are automating some of our skills.
When I increase productivity through automation, jobs go away.
It has pervaded so many elements of everyday life. How do we make it transparent and accountable?
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the extraordinary patterns of our planet, revealing a vast array of shapes, carved into the earth by powerful natural forces, transformed by remarkable animals, and even patterns created by humans. Discover the incredible tapestry of our planet as you've never seen it before.
I grew up in the South Bronx in the 1970s, during the time of the fires. Landlords were burning our buildings for profit, and they didn't have to rebuild our homes. 250,000 people displaced, residents and grassroots organizations had no other choice but to fight back. These were our homes. This was our neighborhood. We weren't gonna take it lying down.
Decade of fire.
Welcome back, I'm Ethan Sands. It's getting nippy outside, and that means it's time to take that ball inside. But that's nothing new for the ladies above the net. Volleyball is in action this weekend, not once, but twice. The Battle of the Bricks at Miami takes place on Friday, and then they travel to Bowling Green for that matchup on Saturday. The ladies in green look to get back on track this weekend after falling to Western Michigan and Northern Illinois last weekend. Keep in mind the Bobbies already took one series from Miami earlier this season and look to keep that game plan. But it's going to be a revenge tour against Western Michigan, and the Bobcats have junior setter Vera Giacomassi, who was ranked number 2 in total assists, and senior outside hitter Lizzie Stevens, who was leading the MAC in kills per set, applying the pressure for the offense. They have been receiving key contributions from their front line all year long, as Ohio leads the MAC in blocks and redshirt freshman Dahlia Boyer in second in blocks per set. The men's basketball team will be kicking off Dad's Weekend with an exhibition against Capital. It will be a good first test for the Bobcats. Capital's squad finished last season with a share of their regular season championship and an at-large bid for the 2019 NCAA tournament. But y'all know this by now, never sleep on the Cats. Ohio returns All-MAC Freshman of the Year Ben Vanderplas and MAC All-Freshman team Jason Preston. The key words for the Bobcats this season is redshirt and freshman impact. There will be 6 new freshman faces for the Ohio fans to fall in love with. There is already a known fact that the returners will be looking to make a splash, as some of the coming back from injuries during last season's campaign, while others look to continue their hot streak from last season. This team is young, but that may mean that they're the most hungry. And boy, oh boy, I've been waiting for this time of the year since August. The women's basketball team is finally back in action, and the exhibition game is coming prior to this first week matchup against Syracuse. The women's basketball team at Ohio is coming in with a chip on their shoulder from being left out of the NCAA tournament last year. They are set up to win the MAC this year, and Cece Hooks is on the watch list for the Nancy Lieberman Award. This award recognizes the best point guard in NCAA Division I basketball. And we've seen Cece dominate as the accolades keep on coming in. She was joined by Erica Johnson on the preseason All-MAC East for this year, so the accolades are there and the pressure is there. But pressure makes diamonds, and this Bobcat squad is ready to show what they are made of. You won't want to miss this show that they're going to put on all season long. The blood is going to be boiling all weekend long, so make sure to come pack the convo and cheer on our ladies across the bricks. I'm Ethan Sands, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Anna.
Thanks, Ethan. $13 million. That's how much a Houston furniture mogul says he lost on World Series bets. And Jim Mattress Mac Mackingvale says he'd do it again. The Houston Astros lost 6-2 to the Washington Nationals on Wednesday night. Mattress Mac placed several bets on the Astros throughout several states during their playoff run. He says he's not a big gambler. The bets were an insurance policy to cover promotions on his furniture. Mattress Mac promised to give customers who spent more than $3,000 on certain mattress purchases a full refund if the Astros won the World Series. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Anna Azalian. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
What's up, WOUB viewers? I am Joseph Hennessy, the host of Gridiron Glory, and our show airs every Friday night at 11:30 p.m. and 11:30 a.m. on Saturdays. Next week is the last regular season game of the year. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. We'll be all around southeastern Ohio to watch teams compete for a spot in the state playoffs. Teams are fighting for the ultimate glory. We're going to see who comes out on top. Follow all of our social media accounts, and remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.